Hello, friends. I'm glad to see you on our stream at Codeberry Club. Today we are going to talk about CTF results. Konstantin will tell us about how our competition was share some results related to CTF. Uh, our CTF. Also, I'm going to remind that we have our YouTube channel. You can follow us, and we have a channel in Telegram. You can follow us there. And after the winners will receive T-shirts like that. Please, Konstantin, go on with results.
Sure. Let me start here. So as Andrei said, that there's actually beautiful T-shirts that will be available for the winners. But first, we're gonna go through some of the tasks and some of the solutions. So I will be looking a little bit to my right, to my screen here, which you could see on the translation shared. And let this. It's not working like this anyway. And just a reminder, what the tasks are. So those are like 4 tasks at the competition. First one was PPC, or development, professional coding, which is called in CTF. And basically, you have to start the task by sending start command to the bot, and the bot was replying to you in the lead code something about like be my hasher, and try to hash some strings. And trying to send some messages to the bot, you would actually see that as soon as you're going to send some message, bot would reply to with some it looks like random string, like some alphanumeric string, and this string and then later, like in after a second or so, it's going to reply with the message slow, and the correct answer is, and then there was some lines there, and I think it was pretty straightforward that this was a hash. So then the next step would be to take a look what's the actual hash was there. And you could check it by the format or any other tools online. You could check and see that actually was MD5 hash. What's actually it means that you would need to write some simple script or bot that would get a message from the bot from this random alphanumeric, do the MD5 hash and reply it back to the bot. In this case, you would get as an answer the correct flag, which you would submit later on. I could see that there's a lot of people who actually solved this first task. I think it was pretty straightforward. There was nothing much to discuss. Okay, let's take a look into something more interesting, the second one, which was actually like a reverse, or like simple reverse to some extent. I would say once again that generally this was like a very simple CTF, something to start engaging with the audience, something to get you interested into the CTF. We didn't want to put something like completely madness, like a mad task here. So it was something like much more simple. Anyway, so this was a link to the file, and if you could go to this file, you could actually see it here, and this is my actual the problem task.
I'm sorry, Konstantin. Could you please make font a little bit bigger?
Sure. Let me try to do this. There was some presentation mode, I believe, here.
Okay, thank you.
I forgot what it was like. Is it like this much better? Is it better?
Yeah.
Should be better. Yeah,
Much
should be better. Thank you for mentioning this one. Anyway, so this was the task, obviously, the setup of the problem that we were trying to solve. And here we would see the actual problem the problem, and the jar could be actually found here. So this was the jar that was shared with you on the disk drive. So what we could do here is actually with the jar. So jar is it's actually basically we were talking about the Java application here, and of course some could run this jar application and see that it's actually like some sort of Spring application. Doesn't really not really important, to be honest. Gosh, this is interesting. I'm losing in my Windows. Anyway, if you would go to the actual folders of this one, and let me do this quickly. How I could do this in the presentation mode. let me do it like this. So I'm going to these projects and first. So, okay, when it's presentation mode, that's actually weird. So this was the file. This was actually the file. So let me drop my terminal window here, and yeah, see here that in the build folder, or this location is of course is just irrelevant in this case. So yeah, so this is the jar that everybody was trying to solve, to reverse, right? And as some of you might know, jar is like Java application archive, basically something as a way to package the Java application, so later they could be run on the JVM. It's all clear, but we wanted to find some flags inside. And since it's an archive, you could easily just extract it, and it would be something like this: extract file, and then we would specify this one. Of course, it was obfuscated because otherwise it would be not that much of an interest. And if we go back to this obfuscated class, so this is basically for simplicity, I unpacked it in my IntelliJ, and we could see what is inside this jar file. So there is like some sort of boot information. There was some libraries which we used there, so you could see like a lot of other jars, and wasn't that much complicated here. Some meta information, and then like some actual bootloader files. Anyway, what you could actually see that in these classes, you were able to see some of the classes that were inside this application, right? So you could go to the classes. Is it big enough? Let me check on the string. Yeah, I think it's pretty big enough. Oh gosh. So yeah, so you could see that there is like actually some classes. So let's go inside, and then obviously you could see Codeberry CTF, which should give you some of idea, and then you could see some of the classes, right? And generally, class is the bytecode that is executed by the Java machine in order to run the application, and there is like some classes here. Technically, you could take a look into this one. There is not much you could see here. There is like some classes and some binary things. So as I said, it's like a bytecode. So the next step would be actually like to realize what's the code is hidden inside, and there is like a lots of decompilation tools for Java that actually could do this. And one of the options is even to do like in the IntelliJ IDE. So this is Java IDE. If you don't have it, you could use something like Java IDE, which is a Java decompiler used as a standalone tool. I'm pretty much sure there's a lot of like open online tools as well. So there could be different vectors how to do this. And basically looking into this code, you could see that there's like demo application. And the beauty of the IDE in this case that it could decompile the bytecode, and you could see that it actually decompiled. Nothing really interesting happening here. Something going on here. So this is a flag controller, like a REST controller, and there was something, but as you can see, it's called actually fake flag. It's even, I think, in the name of this flag is mentioned that it's incorrect one. And then you could see some weird things happening here. I don't know. This string looks really much interesting. Anyway, not really clear what to do with this one because I don't know what's this one. Is it encoded or something? Then we could take a look maybe in this class. Yeah, nothing much. It's just doing something. It looks like some final class here, doing some lower casing. But then we actually could go here, and there is some class B and the method A, which is unclear what it's doing actually. But if you could take a look here, so this is the alphabet, right? So this is the alphabet, and this is the permutation of this alphabet, right? So it looks like what it's doing, it's going in the for loop. And whenever it's going in the for loop, it's just basically encoding each symbol from here to the symbol from here. So it's some sort of simple cipher, very much straightforward. And it looks like this is doing encoding, right? So decoding is not here. And what it looks like, if we go into the flag controller again, so this is something like encoded flag. So you would need to do, what you would need to do is you would need to run this decoding or write the decoding tool, which basically would be like going from back from this one to this one. So it's not like a one-way cipher, but just you decipher as well. So it's the same key. So this is basically the key in this case in the cryptography. So just reversing this one, you could easily deduct the flag from this string, and this would be the solution to the second one. Let me go back. So this was the second task. Basically, it was a reverse combination of reverse plus a little bit of cryptography. Nothing really complicated, I would say. Then we would have a web challenge, and this is, you could actually see there is a login page, and what you can actually could see here, yeah, this is the login page. And yeah, we could take a look in the source code, like what's the inside the source code. I'm not sure how to make this one bigger. Is it Control plus, Command plus is working here as well? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we could take a look into this, like body or, you know, like form and stuff like this. And to be honest, not much, right? I think in the previous iteration, if some of you might potentially participated in one of our beta CTF, let's say, there was some metadata hidden in head, but it's not the case here. I think it's just a style sheet and nothing really interesting. So thinking that this is a web, you know, and logging a password, you could think, hey, you know, maybe it's a SQL injection, like some sort of simple SQL injection that could be doing the problem, right? And the classic one would be something like admin, you know, we're doing the comments in the SQLite and then escaping and do the comments again. And then we could type the password anything. And yeah, not really working, it looks like. Why it could be so? Because, for example, when we type here admin, we actually thinking that this is actually the name of the user, right? So this is expected to be the name of the user. And it's not really working because we probably didn't realize or didn't guess the correct admin number. Of course, admin name, admin login, that could be like, I don't know, like root and anything else. This would be difficult to guess, to be honest. And we didn't expect you to actually brute force this one. I'm also pretty much certain there could be other options how you could do this in via maybe the password field as well. So I'm not saying that this is the only solution, but at least what we used here. And then yeah, there's like a site, and we could imagine that there is maybe other options, maybe not just login page. Maybe there is something interesting, right? And really difficult to guess once again. If you don't have like a sitemap or something, it's really difficult to guess what are possible endpoints. Only like a brute force might help you here, I think. One of the possible options and one of the leads that planted into the task, well, there is actually like very often when there is a site on the internet, right? Very often they try to configure something called robots.txt, and robots.txt is actually usually like a helper to the scrapers of major searching systems like, you know, Google, Bing, and others. And basically it tells them what to scrape and what not to scrape. Of course, this is something rather purely recommendation based. It's not like preventing you from actually scraping the other sites, but still could be used. So one of the possible options was just to go and see if there's robots.txt here. And actually you see that we actually got the robots.txt here, and it actually says like, you know, for every user agent, don't let them go, you know, team login and log out. And while we know login and probably log out as an endpoint, not sure what's the team endpoint is. So let's take a look here. And actually, if you go into the team, we see actually the funny page, which is, I think, is a mistake in terms of security, of course. That there is like a table where there is a team name specified. So this is Antiope, Aquila, and Kerstedt, I think. And actually, the logins are specified here. So that's actually a really bad idea, of course, to share the logins, because the logins, you see, could help you really. So you see is actually the name is of the admin is root CTF admin. So if you could go to the login page again, what we should do now, instead of doing this, we would do root CTF and then use the same payload, and yes, we could get the flag here, right? So this was the login idea. Okay, maybe technically there are some other options, and once again, I'm not saying that this is the only possible option, but it's like the meant to be option. Please tell us in the comments to this translation if you solve it in a different way. I would be happy to know about other options as well. So this was the number 3 problem, right? And there was probably the most difficult ones and the most crazy ones, which was about Stega and OSINT. And once again, for those, just a reminder, steganography is something where you hiding the message instead of ciphering it. So like comparing to the cryptography where you actually apply some sort of smart techniques like RSA, IS, DES, and stuff like this. What's here is try to hide the messages. And what was funny here that we said, the message is somewhere on the Codeberry Club channel, on our Telegram channel. And it was actually a lot of the stuff here, potentially, that you might think of. Of course, it would require you to check like the videos, the links to the videos, to the YouTube videos of the past, to see maybe there is something in the comments, for example, or maybe some weird thing in the comments on the YouTube. Just check generally message and etc. etc. But I think after some time it would be more or less clear that it's something fishy going on with the picture. So there was a picture prepared specifically for this event. And it was actually quite huge PNG, not shared as an image. So would should probably give you an idea like what's going on. So it looks like the message is hidden somewhere here, and it's not like the straightforward thing, because usually how the how the message is hidden in the images, it's using like LSB approaches. I think you could do some sort of maybe some different channel, maybe some metadata tool, like maybe hidden some flag in the EXIF, for example. So for example, EXIF tool is very important to use in steganography, but it didn't lead actually to anything, I would say. But this is actually where the second part of the problem appears. Sorry, let me go back to the tasks. The problem appears because it says async, right? Because for so now it's like Stegana in terms of like, okay, we found out that picture probably is where the message is hidden, but how it's hidden, right? It could be did in such a different ways, right? And in our case, it was actually a custom script. And yeah, for example, one of the options, we know that some of you solve this problem. There is like, maybe some online tool where you could just load this file and try to decode. And actually you could see that there is a flag inside here. Of course, this would be really crazy task to solve, and it really depends like impossible to solve to some extent, right? Because how would you know that you need to go to the specific service, right? And we have other links to similar services, but that's really difficult, I would say. So we wouldn't just do it like this. Otherwise, you would call it, sometimes in the community tasks like this are called utsutsuga, which basically means you need to do something really crazy and really difficult to deduct how to do this. So we didn't want really this to be like a pure utsutsuga problem, let's say. So what's the second hint we had? Actually, it was like a nice hint, I think, to solve this problem. In our Telegram channel, in the description, there was a link to the GitHub of the Codeberry Club. And yeah, you could see here there is some like followers, but actually nothing is actually happening here. No repos, nothing here. But this wasn't just, for fun or just because we wanted to advertise this one. Apart from the GitHub, where you have repos with different with different code bases, right, and basically other stuff. There is like other tools related to the GitHub, which is called gists, and gists is something like when you could place more like snippets of a code. So I think the idea of this would be to just search for user Codeberry Club. And actually, you could see that there is like a file called ututsuga. And let me make it bigger once again. And there is a code that is called doing something. And the idea would be to just find this code, and then as long as you take a look in the code, what it's doing here actually is needed some sort of PNG library from the JavaScript, from the Node implementation. What else is doing some sort of manipulations, bits and stuff like this, and then basically it's could decode the message, right? So another option would be, if you didn't find something like this, because we think it would be pretty difficult to do. The second part would, as long as you would realize and find this code like via this OSINT approach, you would see like, oh, okay, this is about PNG, this is about images, and there is only one PNG on the channel, of course, right? So downloading this image and just running it would produce exactly the same results. So if you could run this message, run this code in the node and then apply it to the image, you would actually get the same flag. So once again, this was a little bit more difficult, a little bit more Ututsuga based, let's say, but I hope you had fun trying to solve this one. Once again, please tell us how you solve these tasks. Any other tasks as well? That would be pretty interest for us as well. And in terms of the scoring board, right? So once again, I would like to apologize on my behalf because of there was bug in the Telegram bot. I was like naively assuming that every person in Telegram have a username, which is in fact not. So this was an optional, and in some cases it leads to some problem. So yeah, this was solved, and I hope this would be tested next time better. So this is the scoreboard, the final scoreboard. We didn't maintain any sorts of submission time or any dynamical scoring. So we only used the static scoring, where each of the program had 100 points as of complexity, as of like scoring for solving this one. And we have two actual winners who solved both all four tasks up here. So this is the user with the name Skriap and Andrei Aus. And here I would pass my word to Andrei.
No, please go on.
So yeah, so as we said, so here this is our winners. So please, you would be receiving the T-shirt, the one which is Andrei is wearing right now. And as of last exactly this one. As of last, small simple task, you would need to contact Andrei directly. So please find his profile somewhere. You should be able to do this. It's a small async task for 50 points. So basically, as soon as you're gonna find Andrei and message him with your name, yeah, right. So you would be later.
It should be name, address, and size of T-shirt.
Yeah,
but I will send it.
That's right. No, that's okay. So that's right, and yeah, basically you could figure out like the delivery method or anything like this with Andrei directly. So yeah.
So thank you for participation. Thank you, Konstantin, for excellent competition. Probably somebody have any questions? Please, you have half minute to ask it in the chat. So if no, we are going to finish our stream. Please follow us on Telegram. We have planned to make CTF competition often than one time in year, and probably you will win T-shirt like that or something else.
Maybe we're gonna have different prizes next time, right? So this was more like an introductory CTF. We would expect the next one would be a little bit more complicated and more well organized. So yeah, so let us know if you had fun solving this problem in the chat, in the channel, or if you have any sorts of feedback, that would be always welcome.
Yeah, thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.